how are you? I just wanted to get into a quick review of the Play Arts Volume 1 game version of Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. Of course, you probably know that if you're watching this video. Complete with Buster Sword, which is absolutely huge. And I swear, they did such a good job, it looks like it actually cut. It's just plastic, but it's still very heavy. And let's get into quickly showing what he has. Now, one thing that's cool is, as you know, Play Arts comes with the base, always does. But when you look from the front, even when you raise his hands, as with most of them, it blends in so perfectly you cannot tell that it's in it. Unlike, for example, let me pull a future video of Darth Vader that's coming up just to show you, where you can actually kind of see where that clamp is coming around, especially in person. So, I mean, even with the nice teeth, this is solid metal, and that's a clear plastic, and it's still a little bit more noticeable. Anyway, I want to get to, first off, the Buster Sword. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. You've got it almost like identically to how it appeared in both the game and, I would say, somewhat Advent Children, as far as the parts where there's damage. A little bit of Crisis Core, maybe. No, not quite Crisis Core, as in Crisis Core it had a little bit of gold down there, but this is the Final Fantasy VII original game version. So I didn't say original game now. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on the sword. The sword is almost exactly 8 inches tall, and Cloud is, sorry about that. Cloud, this is going to be kind of funny. He tops out at 8 1/4 inches long. So the Buster Sword is 1/4 inch shorter than his entire body. Now again, this is original Play Arts, not the Play Kai Arts yet. I'm working my way on those, but you know how expensive they are. Alright, so first off, I want to show you the articulation of his head, and of course, let's go ahead and give you a look of his actual detail. Great job with the eyes. It matches the game, the exact look of him. Now, this was when they were early on, so it's a little more obvious, but you can see that his arm does go back. You get a full extension. Now, the joints, everyone kind of complains about how the joints on these look, but they are functional. That's one thing I'll give him. He does a full 360. I don't want to do it too much because you definitely don't want to loosen these joints since he has to hold that heavy Buster Sword. But you can get a 360 out of either arm. And this arm is separate of the armor here. So it actually, except for in a little bit in the back, but then it slides. It's on a rotating hinge right there. You have you have 2 ball hinges in there and one in the neck that gives him that look where you can get any angle, kind of like the Advent Children figures. You can get any kind of little head tilt you want out of him. If you want to show off the eye shine or whatever. Then you have the double elbow, well, you have the elbow, and you have I don't know what to call this other than the tricep joint, and that's where you can add more flexing. 360 on the hand. You got 360 all the way around, and that's the same on the other hand, and you can do the same thing with the other arm. I got this for a pretty good deal, by the way. The price, I would suggest, by the way, since people right now with Final Fantasy VII Remake, by the way, who else is excited for that? Final Fantasy VII Remake is on its way. And with it being on its way, it's it's changing the ball game basically. But a lot of prices are going up on these, so now's the time to grab these. If you can find one loose for under 50, go for it. If you can find one box that's in new condition, they're gonna run you around $90 right now to 100. But if you can find one that the box is a little banged up and you can deal with that, then I wouldn't pay more than $75. Okay, so anyway, you have the sort of ab crunch ball joint here that allows them to go side to side, back, forward, as much as this will allow. Then you have what I love are that these are masterfully done. You have 2 thigh swivels, so each thigh swivels, and then look at this. Look how well they hid the joint. There's a double jointed knee joint on each side, and you can get all kinds of crazy. I've seen people doing poses with him like this, where he's laying back like that. You can pretty much get any kind of pose you want out of this figure, as with most of the play arts. And then with this, it's a very interesting concept that they used. Instead of making the whole foot, now the foot does turn. Let me show it by itself up here. So you can turn the whole thing 360. But also the big boot part from the game, you can turn it all the way. It has that swivel, that rocker, and it allows you to go up and down about 20 degrees every direction, and then of course 45 degrees on the left and right direction. So that's really great, and maximum posability, especially of course with the stand. I should show you that. Check out my other videos in my playlist if you can. You'll see a lot of the play arts ones. They just snap right in and they hold them so well. Let's get back to this Buster Sword. Now, in one hand, you can do a one-hand pose. Now, that's why I said you want to be careful with the joints. You just have to be really careful how you angle it, because, like I said, as you can see, it's basically PVC piping almost for the arms. But if you want to get them in a really cool, you can still get them in a really cool pose. I like to get them in the attack stance. If you remember the original game when they would show them lined up. And so this one's pretty easy to do. Let me make sure I got the arms in the right spot. And you just get it in there. You get that one in there. And then there you go. And then you've got him in pretty much his attack pose. And then you can always do the one hand. Da, 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 da. Okay, I had to be a geek, sorry. But that's the the one-handed, and you can hold them in it. I put them in that. I like to keep them in here in the actual on the stand, because you can just do so much more with them and keep them, like I said, in any position that you want. So if you want to get that look out of them, again, remember that's 8 inches tall, 8¼ inch tall figure with an 8-inch sword. You even see the 2 holes for the materia, and then you've got, like I said, he'll do this stance real well. This pose is real cool, I think. Once again, you can really do it any way you want, of course. Once you get it, it's yours. Now look on the back. There's one little thing that a lot of people miss. Now, even though those technically are the materia slots, he has this little circle on the back. Let me show you what that is. And you can check the pictures, by the way, at the end of the video. I went ahead and took a lot and made a lot of pictures. And you take it at the angle, and you just snap it in. Okay, it's not as easy as I made it sound originally. Okay, sorry. So first you go in, and then you just snap, and you just give it that little bit of a push. There we go, it's the second one. Sorry about that. And now, it's not the most stable, okay? It's very hard, actually, to kind of keep it on that. I've managed to get it to stick once. The intention was this little indent is supposed to go through here. I don't know if mine just has an issue or what, but when I try to get it in there, that is where it's supposed to snap, and on most of them I've seen it successfully done. You just can't. So you can get snapped in, but the thickness of the handle and everything up here blocks it from staying in. So I might fix that and actually just add a little bit of I don't know. This is not really something to customize. This is a real collector's thing, I'm messing around with $100 figure here. Alright, so that is it for him. He is a great figure. By the way, legs go out wide. You can get, like I said, any stance that you want. And of course, with the Play Arts stand, you can lift it up. You know, you can give them the aerial look and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a really good, solid figure. Let me give you another close-up. And let's go ahead and get him in there. Give him a complete look at his shot. Let's see. There we go. And once again, there he is with his Buster Sword in hand. Snapping it back into the tripod. And we'll go ahead and get the Buster Sword back in. I kind of like having it just kind of back up like this. I just think it's kind of cool. That's the victory pose. Of course, it's his left hand. I can do it with his right. Either hand will work. Now, one thing that I recommend, and once again, we have another snap. So we'll go with that. You can see how he's set up. And then there's also, like I said, you can do anything, really. And he's pretty easy to pose. I recommend the left hand first if you want a one-handed pose with him. If you want. I prefer this. So what you can do is this is my favorite. I just like having him in this pose because it's the most you see him in the game. The original game. I suggest if you haven't played it, try to play it before the remake. It's one of the greatest RPGs, definitely JRPGs ever made. Now again, just to give you an idea of scale, here's the ruler next to him. So, you know, if I were to put that straight up, it'd be 16 and 1/4 inches high if you were to stack that on the sword on top of his head. But as for the figure himself, and then on the platform, he hits about 8 3/4 inches. So he's really good. Great figure. Great articulation. I mean, obviously, a little bit. This was made in 2002, I believe. Might be off on that, but you can see the early design work. Now, at the time, Toy Biz was kind of the big leader. This was their first. This was Squaresoft's and eventually Square Enix's first sojourn into making figures with the Play Arts line, and so they were really, you know, you've got a lot of that happens with the Advent Children ones as well, where, you know, you can kind of tell where the joints are in the arms, but they already show how great they are with the legs. It's a very solid, thick, heavy figure, and once again, the Buster Sword by itself is just worth it. I was very fortunate. I only paid, I believe it was around $42 for him. So that was a heck of a deal. So let's give him one last little shot and spin. And like I said, and if I work with it some, I'll be able to get him into a pose with him probably pitched forward further, where the sword will stick back there. So you can have that option, and you could just cross his arms if you want. Now, please stick around. I have lots of pictures coming up at the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And a little sick, so hopefully it's a decent. I will be back on 100% point with my next video. No worries, but I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night, whatever time, whenever you're watching. Thank you so much for coming by and visiting my channel. If you want to, please drop a like and a subscribe or comment. And let me know, are you excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake? Are you someone who hasn't messed with Final Fantasy at all? Just let me know in the comments below, and check out the description down below. Thank you very much. Bye.